Hi everyone, it's Margaret here with 60andMe. Welcome to a new day. I hope that you're doing great wherever you are in the world. We're having a very hot summer here and a very hot day, so I've got my trusty brush I'm going to try to keep cool. I should have had a fan, but anyway, I do hope that you're doing wonderful. I love the hot weather, I really do, but yeah, when you're doing recordings, it's kind of hard to keep the air circulating without too much distraction. But anyway, I do hope that you're well. Now, I've got my tea this morning and I'm here celebrating Twinings. Honestly, I have no affiliation with them at all, but I'm so impressed that they have chosen to rebrand themselves. This is one of their very strange teas. It's called chocolate coconut flavored green tea. I mean, I wouldn't particularly buy this. I actually had it in a little set that I purchased. But what I like about companies like that is they're kind of thinking outside the box. You know, they're thinking, what can we do with a traditional brand that is consistent with, 50 years ago and now do something different? So chocolate coconut green tea. Why not? And actually, to be honest with you, it's not too bad. I don't chase the chocolate, but anyway, I'm gonna have a sip here. Yeah, I choose the coconut for sure, but not the chocolate. But anyway, it's a nice tea. Maybe you've got a fun and funky one that you'd like to share as well. So the talk today, though, is something that's a little bit more, not serious. Well, it is serious, but it's also very thoughtful. And I want to thank Becky Cohen-Vargas, one of our bloggers, for writing this article, which I'm going to talk about. And it's something that we all deal with as we get older, and we certainly dealt with it as we were younger, but it's changed. Now, Becky asks us a question. Do you remember when you were waiting for a phone call from someone that you had a crush on, or someone that you really liked, or just a decision about anything, a job or a relationship, but you waited for that call? And it was excruciating, and it was really hard to relax and not think about it, to sort of wait for that phone to ring, and how difficult that is when you're younger. But she says, when you get older, of course, you've got a whole different category of things that you're waiting for phone calls on. And some of them are to do with family, some of them are to do with, decisions in your own life personally, and some of them are health related. You're waiting for that call from the doctor or from the hospital. And Becky is very open and has shared with us over the last almost year now, her own experience. She has received a cancer diagnosis. She is going through treatment, and she shared really beautifully with us her experience, her feelings, and her ways of coping with what for her was a very challenging diagnosis. She's very active, traveled a lot, and then found her whole life had to change. But anyway, she's waiting for that call. Okay, so you've got a pain, some ache, something that you just know isn't right. You've had a blood test. You're waiting for the result. You're waiting for someone to say it's nothing or it's something. So then you get that call, and then we need a biopsy. And so you do the biopsy, and then you wait for that call. And then the result comes back, negative or positive. And then you deal with each successive waiting for, and it can take a month sometimes or more to get a diagnosis. Once you have the diagnosis, then you can, in a way, it becomes, I wouldn't say easier, but at least you know what you're dealing with and you can get on with it. So I think that's a really important process to think about. And I know from talking to many of you in the community that Becky is not alone on this. Many of our women have been through various illnesses. They're dealing with treatments as we speak. And honestly, you have no idea how much my heart goes out to all of you. I just know that life is hard for some of us right now, and some of you are dealing with different things, but health is a big issue for many of you. So just know you're here with us, and we're looking after you. We're by your side. And if you ever need extra hugs, don't forget, just ask. It doesn't matter whether it's here on YouTube or website or wherever. Just say, hey guys, I'm having a tough day, I need a hug. We'll do it. We're that kind of a community, trust me. So that's the waiting game that Becky talks about. And she says, there's a kind of a quote she puts in here, which is actually kind of interesting. And try not to worry about something that you don't have, that may not happen. It's just keep it to the time and have information to worry about it. But take that moment of if it's something that is not coming to fruition, doesn't happen, no worries. If it's something that you do have to deal with, you deal with it. But worrying about it in advance for those calls, for those next steps is challenging. And if you can do other things to distract yourself, the better. Now, what does she do? Becky says, of course, this is a roller coaster of emotion. There's no way you're going to feel comfortable with dealing with this kind of a situation. Sometimes a good cry helps. Sometimes talking to a close friend helps. And I want to talk about crying for a second, because I don't know about you, but I have actually found myself crying easier or with less reason as I've got older. I can be out in public, I can see something going on, even just something like a mom being angry with her child, or a couple having an argument, and I actually feel like I want to cry. And sometimes I do, because the emotion of it, the beautiful vulnerability of us as human beings, just trying our best to live a good life, to be good people, to just cope with so much complexity. And I feel, that sometimes it's just so overwhelming and emotional. Just today, in fact, someone sent me a message on Facebook and said, it's a kind of a little bit of a long story, but she brought back a memory. She brought back a memory by talking about someone that was important to me in my life. And I read the message, and it was such a nice message, and I was so happy I responded to her. But then everything came back, and it was like, oh my goodness. And I just started to cry a little bit, and I thought, oh, stop crying, Margaret. You've already done that, for so many years. And then I thought, no, go for it. I mean, it's going to help you feel better. And it did. And so I share that with you because maybe you've got something too that you want to have a little cry about, and you're thinking, be strong, don't cry. You've cried before, let it go. Just, sometimes crying helps. And that's what Becky says about her situation. But while you're waiting, you can do other things. You can keep busy. And of course, there's things you can keep busy with, like the reading and walking and talking and recording. Sometimes that might be helpful. Cleaning your house, being obsessive about cleaning, maybe buying something new, a little retail therapy, but do something that distracts you. Now for Becky, what she did was planted seeds. And I think that's just beautifully symbolic, isn't it? That we want to plant seeds in the midst of a situation where we're facing our mortality. So she planted seeds, and that was her kind of thing. Now, the other thing is to choose carefully who you talk to about your situation. Now, until you know what's going on, until you have your diagnosis, it's probably best, in Becky's opinion, and in mine too, to just not tell too many people. I mean, everybody wants to help a friend, right? Everybody will want to email you, talk to you, discuss it. And so at the beginning, I think it's good just to kind of, just know your boundaries, talk to a few people. But then afterwards, then talk to as many people that you need to talk to. This is either going to be a shared experience as you go through a healing, or it's going to be something you do personally by yourself. I've actually often thought about this. I mean, we've been together now as a community for 5 years, and I'm touching all kinds of wood to say that, so far I've not had a medical situation that I've, needed or wanted to share with anybody. But I think, what if, how would I tell you that? Would I tell everybody in the community? Would I keep it to myself? These are questions that you can keep in the back of your mind until you have a situation like Becky, and you've then got to make up your mind. So finally, she says, what is another thing you can do? And that is to hope. Have hope and faith. And if it's a faith-based religion that you have, or a faith-based culture, then you've got something to hold on to. You've got your tribe. If it's faith just in life, in positivity, that you're going to be okay, that you're going to fight this, you're going to get through it, or you're going to get through that waiting. That's really what this is all about, is how you deal with the waiting before you know what's really there to be dealt with. And it makes you feel better. It really does make you feel better. So I think that's an important thing to remember, to have faith, have hope. And, I think you've got some tools too. Like I don't want to, promote this in the way of this article, because it's some very few things that we actually do have for you at 60andMe. But it's our Aging Beautifully deck of cards. These little cards are not specifically about healing or illness or whatever, but I found a card. This is the card deck. It's really lovely. It's got 46 cards. a little paragraph on the back that you can use for conversation with others or with friends or with yourself. But this one is Search for Meaning. And I think that one was, for me, the closest to reading to understand what somebody might be going through, or you might be going through, in the middle of this, a diagnosis or waiting for a diagnosis. And it says, we may never know the meaning of life. This is what I'm reading on the back. But we can discover the meaning of our own lives. And if you look closely, you will find that you are surrounded by meaning every day. Every challenge is a potential lesson, and every victory gives you strength. So look for meaning in the world around you. So hopefully, Becky, you're feeling better and you're feeling positive. I know you from working with you, and I know you're a strong woman, but I hope that you've enjoyed me sharing this with people, because you have been a huge inspiration to a lot of people, and to all the other women out there that are dealing with this. I want to thank you. Thank you too. Please leave your story. Are you waiting for something right now? It may not be a diagnosis from an illness. It may be something else. What are you waiting for right now? And how are you dealing with it? So thanks again, everybody, for being here. It's been wonderful chatting with you. Hope that you have a great day, and share with us if you want what you're waiting for right now. I'd like to know. Have a wonderful day. Take good care. All the best.